So it's mid-afternoon Sunday. I've been on a negative deal for long enough. I intend to keep staying on that path because it's glory, death, it's death or glory. But I have to do my thank yous because I might not get another chance. Not to put too fine a point on it, but because of what I'm not going to go into. So it's time for me to say thank yous before I don't get another opportunity. Uh, so first, uh, Melinda Herbaugh, who is the Melinda is the mother of my oldest daughter, uh, and she was an angel. Uh, uh, I only had to fight her over recalculations and such because Fifi made me. Uh, uh, I she what I think she was more than fair. I think that the way she got the ball rolling cost me in the long run. I mean, when you date an on spectrum person, you have to expect they'll fall off the rails occasionally, and there was a lot of bad stuff between both of us, but 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 she compared to Fifi, she was an angel, and I would have paid her more voluntarily. I don't think she got a fair shake, and I don't think the daughter we shared had got a fair shake. Uh, and the only reason I fought anything is because I was told there would be consequences if I didn't go to court uh, from a woman that didn't even bother to show up on the same. We were we were a couple, and she forced me into a fight I didn't want to have. I thought the ask was more than reasonable, and she said, "Wow, you gotta." So Melinda, you were, except for the way you started it, which cost me in the long run. You over the years, you were amazing. Yeah. So the next person, uh, and I'm working from both sides of this post-it because I realized that after I wrote everything into my artificial pre pre prefrontal cortex that I couldn't record video and read from it at the same time. So so the first thing, Melinda, uh, Emily Tong, Emily Tong Lee, and Alfred Tong. Uh, I worked for with I worked with Disney. I worked at Disney with a Lemley with I worked at Disney with a Lemley. Um, I'm I'm sorry. I, you have to take humor in your situation, and you have to know you have to be realistic. So I'm finding this all hilarious. It's hit if you've ever seen Spaceballs, it's hit ludicrous speed. My life is it's so out of bounds that I just can all you can do is laugh or cry, and I cried for the first time in 11 years just yesterday. Uh, so Emily and Alfred. So I worked with Emily at Disney. When the pandemic hit, I had a choice of working and being homeless, or living with a pandemic and being homeless. Well, it was all three. But I posted to Facebook my situation, and Emily graciously uh, uh, set me a, got me a place to live. And Alfred, who's her brother, and was my roommate for the last 4 years. Uh, uh, yeah, after the stroke, he was wonderful by not doing anything. Uh, the UW hospital at Northgate. So I went into this earlier, but but to all of the doctors, the staff, and everyone in the ICU, there, I owe you my sincere thanks. Um, Speaking of which, squeaky voice nurse, and I call you that because I don't actually know your name. You're a tiny brunette that works in that department, and you got me through. You just being you got me through a shitstorm. Uh, and I don't know what your situation is, and I'm not going to try and hit on you, but I'm going to tell you that I'm trying to get to Costa Rica, and you and your husband or whoever you're with, your wife, whatever your situation, if the wheels start to come off the bus in America, as I predict they're about to, you're more than welcome to look me up in pull a Shawshank Redemption and look me up in Costa Rica. You were my inspiration, and regardless of your situation, I owe you I owe you a deep debt of gratitude. And all three neurologists. The Chinese woman, the Asian woman, but I think she was Chinese. Uh, I adore you as well. You gave me you were the one person that was realistic. The neurologist that came in and told me I could sing. That I might try singing, which I mentioned in a previous video. But I owe you a deep credit. I owe you a deep debt of gratitude for teaching me to sing some of the most mundane things that have ever been sung to Tom Sawyer or the Cars. You didn't teach me Tom Sawyer or the Cars. I already knew that, but never in human history has something as boring as "I need to go to the bathroom" been sung to the rhythm of Rush or the Cars. And I it only lasted a week, but you uh, the neurologist. So at the I'm 16 months out. At the 3 month point, I was panicking because when you look online, you see that the first 3 months is the golden period. And at 3 months, I wasn't able to speak or walk or talk or control my bodily functions yet, and I was freaked out. I made an appointment with a neurologist and saw her, and she told me to take a deep breath, and she said that she wished they would not phrase it that way. And she explained to me that the first 3 months are the golden period only because you're so bad off. But she assured me that I can expect continued recovery for at least 3 years, uh, which that got me through. Like I'm still riding on that, and it turns out that science and medical school are real things, which I already knew, but some people apparently these days seem to deny. But just that 10 minutes she spent with me got me through a lot. Whoever invented the shot I got. So my memory is fairly sketchy, but at one point I talked to a robot, a telepresence doctor, and he asked if if my memory is right. He asked permission to give me some kind of shot, and I think that shot probably cost my insurance company tens of thousands of dollars. And I don't know if it worked or not, but 16 months ago I was a potato, and I'm not a potato. I'm at least a potato salad or a tater tot, and I'm continuing. Every day is getting better, right? So whoever invented that shot, and the robot, the telepresence doctor that told me asked me, accepted, and I'm about to do an imitation that, if you haven't been there, is totally wrong to do, but accepted as a yes, and apparently gave me the shot, because I don't know what I don't know what effect it had on the outcome. Uh, but I suspect it was positive. Uh, the Uber driver who picked me up. So I got I got dismissed from from the hospital, the ICU, after like a month roughly. Uh, I got sent to a recovery center in Marysville, which is the only recovery center that would take me because of the allegations a certain person had made 10 years earlier. But the Uber driver, so I got to Marysville at 3 in the afternoon. At 7 o'clock in the morning, I demanded to be let go, and they it was a bit of a doings. So they made me sign AMA forms, against medical advice forms, and at first they refused to give me a wheelchair. And I said, I'm just going to lay on the floor and shit myself until you guys give me a wheelchair. So they finally gave me a wheelchair, but they wouldn't help me out the door. Now, I understand. From their point of view, there was a massive liability that if you help someone escape, there's an insurance issue. Uh, uh, but they finally got me a wheelchair, and I took 20 minutes, I think, to get myself out the door, and called an Uber. And when the Uber pulled in, I launched out of that wheelchair and fell flat on the concrete. and then, and what followed was the most uncomfortable Uber ride I've had in my lifetime. And I've taken a lot of cabs and stuff, but we didn't speak from Marysville back to Shoreline. And I'm sorry, the phone. Let me fix this. Not a word was said for 40 for the and he made it clear that he had somewhere else to be immediately after he dropped me off. And I get it. But he took pity on me. When we got I'm in a townhouse, and when we got there, I was struggling to get out of his car, and he knew what was going on, and he helped me just get to the bottom stairs, which I owe him a deep debt, and I want to say thank you. My Uber driver, and then next is Chevron. So I'm kind of working in order of how it played out. So I'm thanking people in order of my experience. So the Chevron station at 15th and Ballinger, and this isn't the one south of the grocery store on the east side of Ballinger. This is the one right at the corner of 15th Ave Northeast and Ballinger Way. Uh, I owe them more than I can ever say. But specifically, Doreen helped me out. In fact, recently she's still been helping me out. Enrique, uh, uh, you're, and anyone I think is always welcome at wherever I end up. Heather, the manager, Mary, they they held my hand through the toughest part of my life, and yeah. So the Chevron, Planet Fitness. So I I realized at one point. So I didn't have I had a speech therapist for a while. I made who also I've thanked in a previous video, and I don't. It's Catherine something. She was amazing, but Planet Fitness, after the insurance coverage ran out, Planet Fitness offers a great deal, and I don't know why I feel I have to say this ad is not sponsored, and I'm not taking any gratuities. But my honest assessment is Planet Fitness offers a great deal. It's sorry, deep breath. It was $10 a month, and I got to spend days on the treadmill. And particularly Alicia, who works at the Ballinger and Lake City Way, Bothell Way Planet Fitness, held my hand, sometimes literally, but showed me how a treadmill works, which doesn't sound like a small thing, but when you don't know how to tie your own shoes and your foot's dragging, and you're not fluent in any of the 35 software languages or protocols you were fluent in, including 6 you were full blown Jedi level in. Uh, uh, you need to be shown how to use equipment, and she did that, and she gave me, she was my rah girl, and her and her husband and any, always welcome in Costa Rica. The Getaway Tavern, uh, uh, specifically the owner Kat and Jen, Kelly, uh, everybody that worked